without further ado, I would like to introduce Elysian's own Worshipful, Cirilo Marquez, past master of Elysian Lodge in 2001, 2002, and 2010, and currently is the Deputy Grand Commander of the Knights Templar of California. Worshipful Cirilo, floor is yours.
Thank you very much. And as you see, the picture on the flyer here is actually using the Grand Commander's uniform already.
Yeah.
I'm at the moment is the Grand Commander elect, if you may. So, and the installation will take place this Saturday, as a matter of fact. And Worshipful Carlos Gonzalez will be my installing officer, because he was the one that appointed me to this great opportunity of being in the Grand Line, and now in the top of it, which is the coming Grand Commander. Okay, so
you guys are meeting?
I guess.
Sorry.
Oh, Robert, how you doing?
No, I'm sorry. I was because you said you're going to be installed, right?
Oh, that would be a separate Zoom meeting, and that will be on Saturday.
Oh, all right.
So
okay.
that will be the Grand Commandery installation. So I guess we could start the presentation with an explanation of this structure of Freemasonry. I know you probably have seen this in many lodges, like posted on one of the walls, maybe on the gallery walls. And as you can see, it is arranged into a triangle. The top being, where the Scottish Rite and the York Rite meets. And the base will be, your first step, going into Masonry, which is the entered apprentice, the fellowcraft, and master masons, which they said most of the people stayed there. But you see, there are steps going up there. So starting with the explanation of this, it says American Freemasonry resembles two sets of stairs that begin and end together. As this chart of Masonic structure shows, as it is a triangle, right? A Mason's first step is to become an entered apprentice. He climbs to the third step, where most Masons stay. If he wants to go on in Masonic hierarchy, he enters either the Scottish Rite, the Scottish, or York Rite. Many authorities say the Scottish Rite was begun by Scots immigrants in France. The York Rite was named after York, England, where, by legend, the first Masonic body was organized. In the Scottish Rite, the Mason climbs 30 steps, and that's on the left side going up. The name he takes on at each degree is written on each step in the chart. And you can see that. I don't know if you can read it. It's a little bit small and blurry a little bit. The name he takes on at each degree is written on each step in the chart, where there are two names. The top is used by Northern Masons. The italicized one is used by Southern Masons. Some figures a Mason meets in Rite ceremonies and stand on the steps from the bottom. King Solomon, King Cyrus, Acolyte, George Washington, the Sultan. Each degree teaches a moral. To earn a degree, a candidate learns the moral and participates in the ceremony, dramatizing it. A 32nd degree is the highest degree a Mason can earn. The 33rd degree, as you may hear, is earned by the Supreme Council, the ruling body of the Rite. A Mason on the York Rite advances 10 degrees. You see 10 degrees compared to 32 degrees in the Scottish Rite. Known by name and not by degree number. On the chart are the figures he meets at each degree, or the degree symbol. The figures are temple workman, past master, virtual, The temple workman is actually the mark master. Past master virtual, Israel tribesman, high priest of the Jews, King Hiram Attire, Knight of Malta, Knight Templar, equal in prestige to the 33rd degree in the Scottish Rite. So you see that the Knight Templar, which is on the right side, and the 33rd degree on the Scottish Rite, they're almost like on the same level. So if you're done with the Scottish Rite up to the 32 degree, then you have, I think the 33rd is like a special, award, or I guess to be given to a 32nd. So you will notice also that under the arch, there are organizations allied to Freemasonry. Master Masons are eligible for grotto, tall cedars of Lebanon. Girls with the Mason in the family can join Job's daughter, or Rainbow Girls. Women, the Eastern Star boys. That's the Eastern Star, and in the women. The boys are Dimole. Only 32nd degree Masons or Knights Templar can join the shrine. I think this has changed I don't know, 5, maybe 10 years ago, that if you are a Master Mason, you can join the shrine. A Shriner's wife can be a daughter of the Nile, which is the women group of the Shriners. So that's actually a brief explanation of the structure of Freemasonry. And so we will go straight to the York Rite. So in the York Rite, you see the first step is actually the Royal Arts. And with that, the York Rite, or more correctly, the American Rite, is based on the early remnants of craft masonry that were practiced in the early 1700s. The formation of the first Grand Lodge of England in 1717 specified that the lodges were to confer only the degrees of entered apprentice, fellow craft, and master mason, all other degrees being considered spurious. Don't know why. Anyway, so however, many lodges had been conferring other degrees than they considered an integral part of masonry. In particular, that of the Royal Arts, and formed their own Grand Lodge in 1751, terming themselves the Ancients, which is spelled A-N-T-I-E-N-T-S, Ancients. And the other Grand Lodge members, the Moderns. So those are the two Grand Lodges that were formed in 1751, 1700, so about that year. With the merger of the two Grand Lodges in 1813 into the United Grand Lodge of England, the lodges agreed that only the 3 accepted degrees of masonry would be used by the lodges, but the degree of the Royal Arts would be attached to chapters allied directly to these lodges and bearing the same number as the lodge, though as a separate body. Thus, unlike the ancient and accepted Scottish Rite, which claims to hold the power of conferring the first 3 degrees of masonry, in addition to those under each jurisdiction, those found in the York Rite have rightfully acknowledged the fact that they are considered appendant to those of ancient craft masonry. It is still the practice in English masonry that a Masonic member is not considered to be in possession of all the degrees of ancient craft masonry until he has been exalted to the Royal Arts. During that time, they called it out as like part 2, that you are not really a Master Mason until you're done with the part 2, which is the Royal Arts. Does anybody know why? Anyway, we'll talk about that a little bit later. So early American lodges operated in a similar manner until the establishment of the General Grand Chapter of Royal Arch Masons. For a period in US history, the cryptic degrees were controlled by various state Grand Chapter jurisdictions until the establishment of the General Grand Council. The chivalric orders have been controlled by the Grand Encampment since the early 19th century in the United States. All three bodies are technically autonomous Masonic entities. Only the requirement of membership in the Royal Arts connecting the cryptic degrees and the chivalric orders together. A pendant to the York Rite bodies are several additional Masonic bodies, most of which are invitational in nature. Membership in many of them is predicated on membership in the Royal Arts, though some have memberships predicated on other bodies of the York Rite, or membership in all of the York Rite bodies. Many are found in other jurisdictions outside of the United States, but several are uniquely American in origin. So that is actually the connection between the York Rite and the Blue Lads. You know, so during those times, again, repeatedly, you're not actually a Master Masons yet until you are done with the part 2 of which is the Royal Arts degrees. Now, we will start with the Royal Arts degrees, which is they call the capitular degrees. And the capitular degrees are a set of 4 degrees controlled by the Royal Arts chapter. They center on the construction phases of Solomon's Temple, with the exception of the degree of past master, hence the title of capitular. The degree of past master is the vestigial remnant of the former custom that the degree of the Royal Arts could only be conferred on a past master of a symbolic Blue Lodge. In the United States, this degree is considered as proprietary to the Royal Arts, while in England, there is no past master degree as found here, and the Mark Master degree is controlled by its own Grand Lodge. The most excellent master degree is also part of the cryptic degree in England. As stated in the forward, the Royal Arts overseas is controlled by chapters attached to English Blue Lodges. The Royal Arts chapters have occasionally been referred to as the Red Lodge. In older Masonic publications, though they should more accurately be described as the Red Degrees. The United States, all after chapter business is conducted in a Royal Arts chapter. The other bodies being only operate for the conferral of degrees. Some jurisdictions open Mark Master lodges as table lodges, which act as a social focus for the local York Rite bodies. Now, we will go to the first degree of the Royal Arts, which is the Mark Master. The Mark Master is a degree that emphasizes the lessons of regularity, discipline, and integrity, which is probably, if you will go back to the structure of Freemasonry, that would be the first step there. Go up, Frank, and you will see the first step there of the York Rite on the right side. That is the Mark Master right there. Okay, so that's the first degree, and that is that emphasizes the lessons of regularity, discipline, and integrity. It is a most impressive degree centered on the story of the fellowcraft of the quarry and their role in the building of the temple. it's important. Let's see, hold on one second. Its importance in English craft masonry can be judged by the fact that it operates as a separate Grand Lodge and is highly sought by members of the craft in that jurisdiction. Are there anybody on the call that attended the Grand Lodge last year? You can be muted at this time if you want to say yay or nay. Anyway.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. So you probably remember that during last year's Grand Lodge communication, there was a part in the program where it is the conferral of the Mark Master degree. Do you still remember that? It was conferred in the Grand Lodge last year. I don't know if there are any of you who took that degree. This degree actually is considered as a continuation of your Master Mason degree. And if you still remember, we announced during the one of our stated meeting if we will have a festival at the San Fernando York Rite bodies, that the Mark Master degree is open for Master Masons, and it's free to attend to that conferral. This Mark Master Mason degree is the start of your journey to the Royal Arts. Should you want to continue, you're done with that. So there was a time in history that the Master Mason degree is actually not complete without going through the part 2. And the reason is, if any brother who know the answer may say yay or nay here. Does anybody know? You know why? On the Master Mason degree, you are done with the 3rd degree, and you will be given the substitute for the Master's Word. Okay, so in that olden time, they did not consider you as a Master Mason because you don't really know the Master's Word, right? Now, the reason why they said the Royal Arts degrees are supposed to be part 2 of being a Master Mason. And it is because in the Royal Arts degree, that's the only time that the real Master Mason is revealed to you. So, and the true Master Mason's word is communicated. And that's the first. So now the second to degree of Royal Arts is the Past Master, which is virtual. And you will see that as the second step on the right side of the structure. The Master Mason is wearing the top hat with the jewel, the apron. So this is called virtual, but during those times, they don't just confer the degree. It is actually conferred into a real past master, okay? So, but nowadays, they consider this as that any candidate in the Royal Arts degree can go through the past master's degree, but virtual, okay? A degree that emphasizes the lesson of harmony. This degree is conferred because ancient custom required that a Mason must be a past master in order to be exalted to the Royal Arts. In some grand jurisdictions, this degree is conferred upon all sitting masters of the Blue Lodge. The degree confers no actual rank upon the recipient, but is exemplified to maintain the ancient custom. So, and after that will be the most excellent master. For those of you who took the Royal Arts degree, you probably still remember the succession, right? So the most excellent master is a degree that emphasizes the lesson of reverence. This degree is centered on the dedication of the temple after its completion, particularly the consecration of the sanctum sanctorum and the descent of the host into the temple, and the descent of the host into the temple. It is complementary to the Mark Master degree and completes the symbolic lessons introduced in that degree. So that's the most excellent master. And now the fourth, which is the Royal Arts. And you will see that on the 1, 2, 3, the fourth steps up there. The Royal Arts, the completion of the Master Mason degree and the summit of the original degrees of the Blue Lights, as practiced in the ancient lodges of England before 1820. The degree explains the origins of the substitute word found in the Master Mason degree, the recovery of the ineffable word, and its concealment within the Royal Arts word. This degree, together with the Master Mason degree, may have once been exemplified as one large or super degree, with the Master Mason degree explaining the loss of the Master's word, and the Royal Arts explaining the recovery of the Master's word. The presiding body is a chapter, and the presiding officer is a high priest. So you will call the attention of the presiding officer as the excellent high priest. That's the presiding officer for the Royal Arts. And the symbol is the triple tau, which is, if we still have time, we can touch on that, on why it is called the triple tau. But anyway, so that is the Royal Arts degree. That's the first body of the Royal Arts. The second one is the cryptic degrees. The cryptic degrees is controlled by the General Grand Council. The cryptic degrees are a set of 3 degrees controlled by the Select Masters Council. The degrees get their name from the reference to a hidden or secret vault in the degrees, hence the term cryptic. Only the first 2 degrees are regularly worked. The third degree, that of Super Excellent Master, is worked as an honorary degree, not being required as a requisite for membership in the council. It is also somewhat peculiar in its association with the cryptic degrees, as it is more closely allied in theme and character with the Royal Arts and the Illustrious Order of the Red Cross. The history of the body as a whole is also shrouded in uncertainty and controversy. Though there is early evidence of councils of royal and select masters being worked in the United States, the degrees were worked variously by their own councils, Royal Arts chapters, and even lodges of perfection of the ancient and accepted Scottish Rite. Though the Scottish Rite has long relinquished any claim to these degrees, several grand jurisdictions, somewhere in Virginia and West Virginia, still confer them as a part of capitular masonry. In England, the degree of Most Excellent Master is grouped with this body. In the United States, all business is conducted in the Select Masters Council, the other 2 bodies only being opened for the conferral of degrees. Some jurisdictions hold table councils in similar manner to table lodges as a social focal point of their local York Rite bodies. Now, there are 2 degrees in the cryptic council. The first one is the Royal Master, and the second one is the Select Master. So The Royal Master is a degree emphasizing the lessons of patience and fortitude. The degree centers around the fellowcraft masons, who were artificers fabricating the fittings and furniture of the temple. It is unusual in that the first part of the degree depicts events taking place before the death of the Grand Master Hieroglyph. And the last part depicts events occurring after his death. See, I think for those who have taken the degrees, still remember that the history is not really, the earlier and then the later. Anyway, so that is the Royal Master degree. And the second one is the Select Master. A degree emphasizing the lessons of devotional and zeal. The degree centers on the construction and furnishing of a secret vault beneath the sanctum sanctorum of the temple, and the deposition of those secrets pertaining to the craft by the three ancient Grand Masters of the craft. This degree bridges the events surrounding the concealment and loss of the ineffable word and the events leading to the recovery of the word in the Royal Arts degree. The presiding body is a council, and the presiding officer is titled Illustrious Master. Now, as mentioned earlier, there's a third degree, which is called the Super Excellent Master. This degree, emphasizing the lessons of loyalty and faithfulness, the degree is centered around the events leading to the destruction of Jerusalem and the temple at the hands of the Chaldeans. The degree is narrated by small interludes of biblical prophecy that highlight the end of the first temple and the construction of the second temple. It is noteworthy for its scenes of the Jews' court of Zedekiah and the Chaldean court of Nebuchadnezzar. This degree is an honorary one, and a member of the council not needing to have it in order to hold membership or office. So this is just explaining to you that the Super Excellent Master is actually, although in addition to being a member of the council, but it's not actually a prerequisite to it. Okay, so far, are there any questions that you have in mind, or before we go on with the Knights Templar?
I have a question, Worshipful.
Yes, sir.
How long does it take for each degree? How long do you have to be in office? How long you have to serve? How long is each degree?
For each degree?
Yeah, is it a year or is it like the Blue Lodge or?
Well, it is different in a way because there are three bodies in this Royal Arch, and that's the chapter.
No, Worshipful. I mean, in for all the degrees, as you go up the ladder, and as you go up the stairs, how long
will it take you?
How long does it take to go from the entry, the first one, to the second one, and then on to the third and the fourth?
It will still be like I guess the arrangement with the bodies, the Royal Arch bodies, because in the San Fernando body, in the San Fernando Scottish, the York Rite bodies, we have a festival class. And as you remember when I was announcing this in the lodge, so in one day we will take care of the chapter, the Royal Arch chapter, which is the time, it's almost like a whole day's affair for the Royal Arch. And that will be the 4 degrees. And then the following it's not actually the whole weekend, but the capitular degrees, which is the council, the two, the royal and select master for the council are just short degrees, which is conferred during the stated meeting, if you may, for that. And so the royal arch will take a day. You know, the royal master and the select master will take a meeting, you know, and that will be like maybe 30 minutes per degree. And then another day for the commander, which is the 3 degrees left for the total York Rite bodies to be completed. And that's the reason why we are sometimes, you know, we have 2 times festival class in the San Fernando that we are conferring it. Are there any other question for now? Otherwise, we will continue with the commandery. The Knights Templar Order. This is called the Order of the Temple. So this starts with the illustrious Order of the Red Cross. And as you see, I think it is the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 steps up there, the 3rd from top. And it's called the Illustrious Order of the Red Cross. It is an order emphasizing the lesson of truth. Elements of this order were practiced in ancient lodges before the final form of the Master Mason degree came into use. It is still practiced in the full ceremonial form by the Knight Masons of Ireland and the Knight Masons of the United States, and as the Red Cross of Babylon in the English Order of the Allied Masonic degrees. So that has been since that early years of the Red Cross. So the second one is the Order of Malta, an order emphasizing the lesson of faith. This order requires the Mason to profess and practice the Christian faith. The pass degree of the Mediterranean Pass, or Knight of St. Paul, prepares the candidate for the order by introducing the lesson and example of the unfearing and faithful martyr of Christianity. The order is centered on the allegorical elements of the Knights of Malta, inheritors of the medieval Knights of Hospitaller. So after that, those 2 orders are in preparation to the Order of the Temple, which is the Knight Templar. The Order of the Temple is an order emphasizing the lessons of self-sacrifice and reverence. It is meant to rekindle the spirit of the medieval Knights Templar, devotion and self-sacrifice to Christianity. The history of the Masonic order is long and convoluted, with the order's ritual differing between the conferred in England and in the United States. That practiced in the United States has a slight militant zeal to the lesson of Christianity, whereas the English ritual is more allegorical. However, the American ritual is most impressive, and more emphasis is placed on the solemnity and reverence associated with the crucifixion, resurrection, and ascensions of Christ. The presiding body is a commandery, and the presiding officer is a commander, which is called the eminent commander. And so those are the bodies of the York Rite, the 3 bodies of the York Rite: the capitular degrees, the cryptic degrees, and the Knights Templar order. So if we still have, and you want to know the explanation of the symbols used for these degrees, which Frank, if you could scroll up, that's the triple tau. Let me see, and then this is for the Royal Arts, and then the sword and trowel, which is for the cryptic degrees, cryptic masons, and then the crown, cross and crown for the Knights Templar. It's very to me, this is the most beautiful symbol that I've seen, right?